Have you ever noticed that some people, especially over the age of 40, seem to glow with youth, peace, and lots of energy? Well, it's not genetics. What it is spiritual alignment. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD, and ordained minister of metaphysical sciences, the study of spirituality. I am also the author of The Enlightened Shadow and Spiritual, Not Religious, both available on Amazon and Audible. So what we're talking about today is spiritual aging. You ever notice like people who are really into spirituality, they are very youthful. They are very energetic. Their skin glows. They have a certain vibrancy and energy about them, and I want to really get into why that is and how you can absolutely carry that kind of vibrancy with you, because we all want to live that life where we feel like the older we get, actually, the more energized, the better we feel, rather than what most people do and experience is the older they get, the more beat up, the more sore, and the less energy they have. So what we have to do is really get into understanding that spiritual energy is about essentially evolving into consciousness rather than really getting into this physical decline of existence. When we really tap into the importance of the physical body, right? Taking care of ourselves and health and wellness, being mindful about your emotions and how you feel and checking in with yourself instead of avoiding dealing with particular energies and emotions. When we get into all those different things as it relates to consciousness and spirituality, you start to really understand that, yes, you are a spiritual being. You are pure consciousness, but that consciousness is existing in a physical body. And so what I want you to understand that your body is an expression of your consciousness. This is why, generally speaking, we all look the same, except for identical twins, of course. But if you know identical twins, you can even differentiate between them. But ultimately, you are an expression. That physical body that you have is expressing your uniqueness. It is expressing your individual DNA when we're talking on a spiritual conscious level. And so you have to recognize that though you are living in this physical body, it is predicated on how deeply you connect with consciousness. That is going to essentially manifest itself outwardly through the body. Okay? You have to understand that proper spiritual growth is not simply something that you just focus within on a conscious level, on a spiritual level. When I look around at many spiritual people on this conscious spiritual journey, because we are all on the spiritual journey, but when we are mindfully, intentionally on the spiritual journey, what tends to happen is we are so drawn into the metaphysical, right? The beyond physical aspects of spirituality that we tend to neglect the physical. But then you have those people who absolutely express that spiritual vitality that they are coming into in a physical way. They show it, you feel it, you see it, right? The things that they do, it just seems like there's endless energy coming out of them because they're connected with the endless, infinite, divine that is within. You see? So for you, what I want you to be mindful of on this journey is to not neglect the physical body. Understand that it is important. Look at the physical body as a church, a temple, a mosque, a synagogue. Okay? This is where the divine within you, God within you, is housed. And if, you can imagine if God is to actually physically be housed in a temple, a mosque, a synagogue, then that temple, that house, that framework, that structure would be taken care of to the best of that community, of that leader's position, right? Whoever is in charge of taking care and maintaining that house, they're going to do it to the best of their ability and make sure that it is spotless. Make sure that you can even eat off the floor if you have to. You see, that is exactly what your mind and your subconscious mind, even your unconscious mind, should be doing when it comes to your body. But it starts with recognizing consciousness. It starts with recognizing the divine within you, recognizing that God isn't separate from you. God is within you. God is you. And then as you understand the connection between the physical body and how that body is made to actually make things happen, right? And according to the will of God within you, then you understand the importance of recognizing the maintenance, the ability to take care of your body. Okay. So spiritual growth is something that you use to essentially replace things like stress, right? Resistance to, this idea of inner peace and clarity. Because many times we live in this world, right? Coming from a very skewed perspective that the world is happening to us, the universe is happening to us, rather than you are creating the universe, rather than you understanding that the universe is a reflection of yourself, right? When you understand consciousness is within and everything else outside of that is an expression of consciousness. So when you understand this journey as you spiritually grow and awaken, you recognize that, you don't have to experience stress like most people do. Okay. You experience stress differently in terms of recognizing that if you feel stress, then it is because you are misaligned with your truth that you are divine. If you find that you are being resistant to inner peace and clarity, it is because you have been distracted in understanding who you truly are, right? So that is essentially when we talk about aging, when we talk about spiritual aging, we're really talking about connecting the dots between the metaphysical, the spirit, consciousness, and the physical, your body. You see? Now, this is the thing. Why are spiritually aligned people? Why do they age slower? I've been often told that I look way younger than I am. I'm 47 years old, almost going to be 50. Some people say I look my late 20s. Some people say early 30s. I feel my late 20s, okay? I feel actually stronger, more fit, more healthy than I've ever felt in my entire life. I have six packs, right? I can see my abs in my stomach. That hasn't really happened before, okay, throughout the existence of my life until I was more mindful about how taking care of my body is very important to my spiritual journey, how eating a diet that doesn't consist of violence, that doesn't consist of death, how that manifests itself in my clarity and my ability to actually connect deeper with consciousness and also deeper with all that is and all people and creatures. You see, I've learned to, on this spiritual journey, let go of a lot. Okay. Let go of a lot of stress. When you have less stress, you age slowly, So less stress really looks like you recognizing who you are as a divine being, as an individualized spark expression of God, and really understanding what that means. That means that you recognize that God, the creator or the universe, if you really want to get into the macro aspect, right, the grand scale of it all, does God lose? Does God really make mistakes? No. So if you are an individual spark expression of that, then when you tap into that, when you are led by that, when you follow that, then you can't lose either. Okay. You are always going to win. Yes, you're still human. You still have emotions, but you have to figure out how to maneuver through those emotions by recognizing your divine essence and that there is nothing you cannot do, right? That is within your imagination. That is within your mind. That is within your, your mental, spiritual reality. Okay. Mindfulness, meditation, those improve cellular regeneration. So you have to recognize that these are things that are proven. Okay. I'm sure you can Google it. You can find articles. I'm usually better with providing articles, but I'm really just going with the flow of things. When you understand the importance of mindfulness, meditation, and how it actually will slow down the aging process, it will improve your cells in how it regenerates, the speed, the quality of how it regenerates. When you recognize that, you understand that just the simple act of being still and being mindful and observant of your thoughts and what's going on without judgment, without shame, how much that is actually going to support you in, living a youthful life, no matter how old you are. So me almost being 50, I can do more now than I ever was able to do. Yes, it took training. Yes, it takes discipline, but I didn't have that discipline when I was younger. Now that I do, it's because I recognize my consciousness, but I also recognize purpose. I recognize the importance of having an intention with everything that I do. Think about what you're doing. For example, right now, you're listening to me speak. There should be an intention behind this. There should be something that you are looking to take away from this communication, right? This dialogue, this exchange. So that way you can implement it in an aspect of your life to actually increase the quality, the value, and enjoy the experience more. You see? So purpose, self-love, those all lead to healthier choices. Purpose is recognizing that your consciousness, your divine spark, has a reason to be here. There is an objective. There is a mission. Okay? There is an intention behind us deciding to come here to this plane at this time and space. Now, when you recognize the divine within you, you have to love it. Okay? You cannot not love it. You cannot hate it, right? You have to love it. And so when you love that with this, which is the root of who you are, that then spreads out through all aspects of who you are. And then it leads to you recognizing again the intention behind the things that you do, particularly what you eat. Okay. How often you eat, movement of the body, being grateful for the body. Whether you have a completely whole and healthy body where you're capable of doing everything, or even if you have a body that is limited and has some physical challenges, you still have things to be grateful for. And with that, you should make healthier choices that align with that self-love. You see, because that self-love is going to express and is going to support everything else that you desire, that you love in a mental space, right? In your spiritual realm, in your imagination. If you are taking care of the things that you have, then the things that you desire are more likely to be attracted to you. It's like, I tell my son, he asked me for a certain thing. And I say, well, what are you doing with the things that you have in relationship to that topic or theme? And if it comes up in the conversation that he isn't utilizing it to the best of his ability, he isn't applying it, taking care of it, maintaining it, then why should I invest in getting him something more or better? It doesn't make sense. You have to utilize, you have to use, you have to cherish and maintain your body, the thing that you have, the thing that you was born with. When you do that and you make the right choices, healthier choices, the best choices that you can make. This isn't about being perfect in the choices. This is about simply being better, intentional about your choices. When you do that, then the universe will acknowledge this oneness, right? And it will reciprocate the desire of you having what you want. Okay. It will understand that frequency. Okay. You actually take care of what you have, which is this amazing, beautiful body. And thus, the thing that you desire is easily for you to receive. Okay. So, signs that you are aging spiritually, not just physically. What that looks like is increased calmness. Okay. You can be calm because you recognize your divine power. You can be calm because you recognize who you are. The beauty of hitting the age 40 plus is that you are more in tune with who you are than you ever were before. And with that comes an understanding of being able to be calm and collected when things happen, because things have happened before, right? You've gotten through it. No big deal. But on top of that, you recognize this divine energy within you. You're dialed in. Not only have you experienced things and you've gotten through it, so you can logically, just remember that and keep that in mind. But now you understand why you got through it. You got through it because you are a divine being, and everything that you go through, you're going to get through. And so now you're like, hey, all right, no big deal. This too will pass. No big deal. Let's move forward. Let's address and do all that we can do. And then we simply allow for the rest of us, right? The universe, which is connected with you, is you. The rest of you, the universe, to actually take over and handle the rest. Now, the biggest thing when it comes to aging spiritually, the most beautiful, youthful, conscious spiritual people are the ones that are detached from drama. They don't acknowledge it. They don't recognize it. Now, you have some people who are so detached from drama that they can walk into a room that is full of drama and instantly bring peace to the environment, bring humor to the environment, because they are so dialed in and locked into who they are, that they control every space in every room that they walk in. That is like so beautiful. And that is part of the journey of recognizing who you are as you get older, recognizing the power of your consciousness, the power of your beingness. So you begin to start radiating this inner peace and presence. Sometimes people can just walk into a room and they have this stoic, regal essence, with a smile on their face, pleasant, joyful, doesn't matter what's going on. They can jump in between an argument or a fight and de-escalate the situation fast and make those two people who were once at war with each other the best friends, because they have that sense of ownership. With that ownership, trust me, peace is everywhere because you are peace. So wherever you go, peace is experienced and expressed. You start looking younger and you start feeling lighter as you go on this journey of recognizing your consciousness and the power of that. And that will then help you to really understand that, yeah, you can do things that you wanted to do as a child, but didn't, right? I remember when I got a certain age, I think it was late 30s, maybe early 40s. I was still living in New York. I got into skateboarding. I got the longboards and I was skateboarding through New York City. And some people said, oh, you're too old for that. I still did it. I still enjoyed it. I had a great time. You see? So you don't no longer limit yourself to this box of, I am 40 plus. There are things that I cannot do. Yes, you always want to be mindful about safety, and that doesn't matter what age you are. You always want to be mindful. Are you physically fit yet to apply or do certain things? Sure. But ultimately, you can do it. Proper fitness, proper training, proper nutrition. Those things allow you to be able to do really all that you want to do. And that's essentially the objective of of being 40 plus is you start recognizing, wait a minute, I can actually live the life that I want to live as I want to live it. You see? So let's get into how, all right, to spiritually age gracefully after 40. We mentioned stillness. You have to learn how to be still. Now, when I say stillness, I'm not talking about sitting in front of the TV, watching your favorite soap opera or drama or action with a bunch of violence. I'm talking about the meditation. I'm talking about breath work. I'm talking about grounding, standing outside, barefoot in the grass, chilling. I'm talking about contemplation, just sitting within yourself, with yourself, and just thinking about your day, thinking about how you maneuvered and how you moved throughout the day, maybe how you could have done things differently to keep in mind for the next day. All this doesn't encompass having guilt or shame. It's just really an observation of how you carried yourself and how you can do better the next day. How can you express yourself and exist in this physical realm in a way that is empowering, that is supportive, that is inspiring? You see, the next thing you want to do is reconnect with your inner self. It kind of gets into the contemplation. Reconnect with that inner self. In other words, all the things that you kind of wish you had done or wish you could do. You know, Instead of saying, oh, I wish I took dance classes. Oh, I wish I learned a new language. Oh, I wish I traveled more. We still have the now. So get into it. Start learning a new language. Start writing that book. Start, reaching out to those friends and hanging out more, making deeper connections. Call that person that you're deeply in love with, but too shy and too worried that they're going to reject you. Call them up, ask them to go out on a date, whatever the case is, right? Take your partner, your spouse. If you want a loving, beautiful relationship, take your partner and your spouse and go do something amazing with them that they always liked, right? That they always wanted to do. Break down those walls that have kept you in a space of feeling like because you are 40 plus, there are certain things you shouldn't and can't do. That's all bull. Let it go. People who are spiritually connected live their life. This is why they look more youthful. This is why they have more vitality, more energy, because they are doing what they want to do and they're not stuck or restrained by social norms, cultural, taboos that they don't want to, challenge, right? Religious restraints and paradigms, limiting beliefs. Live your life. For all we know, right? Based on evidence, this is what it is. Yes, we all have an intuitive feeling that there is something after this life. But we surely, without a shadow of a doubt, have this life, have this moment. So take advantage, use it, enjoy it, maximize on it, do whatever it is that you want to do. Let go of emotional baggage. Okay, that person hurt your feelings. Okay, I understand. But you holding on to it is hurting you more. You're hurting yourself more than that person could have ever hurt you. So you want to really process the emotional baggage that you've been holding on to and let it go. Spiritual people, right, are understanding the importance of detachment, non-attachment, letting go of things that are hindering you from living the life that you desire. So you have to let all of that stuff go. Surround yourself with peace and inspiration. Everything around me is geared toward my desire, is geared toward my well-being, is geared toward me feeling good, feeling inspired, feeling at a space where I am enjoying life. Keeping your space clean, making sure that you look clean, making sure your clothes are clean, making sure that when you go out, You're not in an environment where there is violence or cursing or anger, frustration. When you go to work, cultivate your space so that way it expresses and allows you to feel as much peace as possible, as much inspiration as possible. The last thing, but definitely not the least, this is probably my most important thing when it comes to learning how to align yourself spiritually so that way you have a youthful living life, is to laugh often, especially at yourself. Do not take yourself seriously. Relax. Us spiritual people, sometimes we take ourselves too damn serious. We get so caught up in the things. We get so caught up in the conspiracies and the ideas of spiritual warfare and such. Those are all illusions of the ego. If you are dialed in and tapped into your consciousness, there is no such thing as somebody trying to stop you. There is no such thing as somebody trying to hurt you or harm you. They cannot. They may be able to harm your physical body, but they cannot harm the true essence of who you are. So you being on the defense every time you go out in the world, being, restrained, being reserved, being completely conservative, even though deep down you want to dance in the street, deep down you want to go and sing, deep down you want to be silly and laugh. Let that be, let that express itself, let that stuff come out. Even if you do find yourself in an embarrassing situation, laugh it off, laugh at yourself. Okay. It's funny. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. In fact, if you laugh at yourself, you actually get rid of the embarrassment, But if you take yourself even more seriously, and of course, if people are around and they witness it, they're going to remember it more. They're going to hold on to it more. They're going to identify you as that, even though, you're not really supposed to care about other people and what they think of you. But that's the essence of embarrassment. What people think when they see you, how people perceive this moment that you're going through, right? So laugh often. Watch TV shows that make you laugh, okay? Listen, watch comedy. Learn a joke. Hang out with somebody who has good jokes to tell, that has a sense of humor, that doesn't take themselves too seriously. Be their best friend. Those are the kind of people you want in life, all right? So the more aligned you are with your spirit, with your consciousness, the younger your soul and your body will feel. So be free, okay? You are ready to glow, to grow from the inside, from within. So don't resist. If you want to feel young, recognize that you are infinite. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Thank you so much. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.